The Ombudsman has spent 2 years looking into claims that Labor allies were being put into senior roles to do the bidding of Premier Andrews.
Although we didn't find this widespread stacking, there was absolutely widespread perception of politicisation.
That finding seized on by the Treasurer.
Not one example of partisan political appointment. You might forgive me for saying the state has been told that they've conducted themselves appropriately.
The watchdog says she was hampered by
witness reluctance, cabinet secrecy and poor record keeping.
But did find
the public sector that had been politicised in other equally pervasive ways.
Her 280-page report laying out a repeated sentiment that people were generally scared of upsetting the government and that speaking candidly could amount to career suicide.
The fear factor was certainly disturbing.
This suggestion that there is a culture of fear, it could not be further from the truth.
The Ombudsman concerned too about when advice isn't sought, like with the Suburban Rail Loop, which was directly tied to the ALP's electoral prospects and put together in secret by Development Victoria and consultants.
The lack of rigorous public sector scrutiny over such projects before they are announced poses obvious risks to public funds.
Government can get and should reserve the right to get advice and to come up with ideas that are not necessarily formulated within the echo chamber of the public service.
When public servants are put under pressure to remain silent or they're excluded from processes, we all as Victorians suffer.
The recommendations from the Ombudsman include changing the contracts so senior staff can't be fired at will by ministers and lifting the veil of secrecy over cabinet deliberations, suggestions she hopes are heeded.
You ignore recommendations like this and reports like this at your peril.
And Heidi is with me now. So what happens here, Heidi? Does the government have to accept these recommendations from the Ombudsman?
No, they're not obliged to at all, Alicia. In fact, the Ombudsman doesn't have powers to force it either. The integrity body does monitor and report on how often they're listened to or ignored. And Deborah Glass is now into her final months as Ombudsman. She's never missed on the way through, and she has one last report to come in March where she is expected to have quite a bit to say about the past decade.
There's been a lot of frustration there, hasn't there? All right, Heidi, thank you.